What's the worst thing you did as a horny teen? To set the scene, I was 17, living at home with my family. My room was on the top floor of a tall house, and there were 3 floors below me. For the past few weeks, I've been texting this girl I met. After having a few dates, she finally comes back to my house one night. She texted her parents my address, asking to be picked up later that night. My parents are watching TV on the ground floor, but we escaped up many flights of stairs to my room. Officially, this was to hang out, but my parents are pretty liberal and in all likelihood knew our intentions were far more sinful. So, we started watching TV, eventually getting closer, exchanging glances. Apollo 13 was on. Tom Hanks was lifting off, and so was I. One thing I should point out is that this girl was properly filthy. This was not something I was particularly aware of before this night. Now, mid-movie, she decides to migrate from the sofa to my bed and slyly claim, "I bet you can't get me off here." In an ironic twist of fate, as everything starts to go wrong for Jim Lovell and his crew, everything seems to be going right for the first time in my sex life. A few minutes of playful wrestling turned into lip biting, then kissing for a while, and then both of our hands started to move further south. The next 15 minutes of Apollo 13 were quite a bit of a haze for me. Out of nowhere, there is a distinct bang and slight vibration moving up my house. The front door has been opened. There are muffled voices from the ground floor, and we both freeze. My fingers have stopped mid-entry, and we decide it prudent to go downstairs and investigate what's going on. The voices in the hallway got clearer, our footsteps get louder, and our presence is known. There's no going back now. I step down the final few stairs, the girl following behind. Slowly from the legs up, those talking figures are increasingly unveiled. It's her parents. It's her parents who came to pick her up. Her parents, who I have never met, now talking to my parents as if arranging some kind of awkward marriage proposal, as in the days of yore. Her mother locks eyes at me, reaches out an outstretched hand to shake mine. My eyes widen open. My jaw drops as I begin to realize I have had no opportunity to wash my hands. The adrenaline resumes pumping and the shock begins to set in. My arm hasn't received this message though, as almost through reflex, my dominant hand begins to move towards her mother's. Our hands clasp together for the most moist, uncomfortable, horrific handshake that I will never forget. Jerking off underneath the apron when I was getting a haircut. I didn't manage to finish though. I think my haircutter knew what was up because she kind of suddenly removed the apron. Thank God I was able to flip it back into my shorts in time because I'm not sure how I would have explained that one to my dad. My cousin took me out to the woods behind her house and showed me how her dog licked her. I let her dog lick me, and I have to admit, it felt good. We did that a few more times that summer, maybe twice or 3 times, I don't remember. I was just a young girl and innocent. I'm grown up now and never did anything like that ever again, and don't want to. Okay, so this was 1965. I had a girl I was more than friendly with who was willing to provide certain services for me. One night I was really in a bad way, so I snuck to her house and put the ladder up to her window. Her father was wise to the window tricks, so he put screws in the track so the window only opened 4 inches high. Damn the fire safety, he wasn't having a daughter. So, I decided since I couldn't get in, my dick would. I got up high enough on the ladder to poke my dick through the 4-inch space so she could service me. It was wonderful until I began to orgasm and my leg shook and I went off the ladder to the ground, yanking my dick from her mouth at terminal velocity. I hit the lawn hard. I got up and grabbed the ladder and ran to put it back on the side of the garage and then raced home. I noticed when I got to the woods that my dick was throbbing and I had 4 tooth mark drags down my shaft. It was sheer pain to fold it up in my shorts. I made it home and I was having such a pain in my back I just went to sleep. I woke up the next day and was black and blue all over my back. I had broken a rib. I couldn't take the pain anymore, so I went to my dad and told him the whole story. He didn't say a word and gave me a few pain pills and told my mom he was taking me to the market with him the next day so I could help load trucks. We instead snuck off to the doctor and got me x-rayed and fixed up. My dad covered for me saying I tripped on a pallet. My dad always told me if I told the truth, he would back me up. Well, he proved it that day. I still love that man more than anything and miss him every day. I was in theater and during plays we would have to run to a tiny area and change clothes. They had a small separator in the middle for boys and girls, but it wasn't uncommon for someone in a hurry to step out mid-change in a rush to not miss their entrance. During one show, I was in freshman year, I was going in to change and saw hot senior girl walking out with her skirt a little too high, and I caught a glance of her vag for a brief second. I then proceeded to rush to the bathroom and rub one out, and after I finished, I changed and missed my entrance by 3 to 5 minutes. So I walked on stage and improv'd my way back into the scene, told everyone I had gotten sick and threw up, and then rushed back on stage. Everyone applauded me and praised my dedication to the theater. 10 out of 10. Would jerk again. Fell asleep after jacking it, dick still in hand. My parents walk in, getting woken up by screaming, mom screaming like the world is coming to an end. Dad is just like, wash your hands before dinner. The waitress brushed her boobs against me while setting my food down. Proceeded to immediately wank myself silly in the restaurant bathroom. It was unisex, so I imagined that she used it too. I waited until my parents went to choir practice and then I grabbed one of my t-shirts. I slathered the t-shirt with Vaseline and stuffed it between my couch cushions. Then I got one of my secret nudie mags, opened it to a nice page, and laid it out on the couch. I proceeded to drop my drawers, get down on my knees, and doggy-style the fuck out of my couch. I pumped my shirt full of my 13-year-old seed and got cleaned up before they came home. It sounds bad, but there's nothing more natural than the love between a young man and a piece of upholstery. There was one time where the internet was down and I was super horny. My family were on a 2-day trip to collect a cat they had been looking at online. I know, kinda weird. Anyway, I'm looking around in the attic for the box for the router, thinking maybe there will be something on that to help me out. I come across this black shoebox that was covered completely in cobwebs, so I brushed them off and opened the box. It was full of black and white photos of some family, and there was one picture with who I guessed was the mother. I still remember it now. She was in a black, one-piece swimsuit with just enough cleavage to get my premature blood flowing. I jacked off to it twice up in the attic. 14-year-olds have quick revival skills, and brought it downstairs. I left it in my drawer for future use and basically forgot about it. Fast forward 2 weeks later and I'm sitting in my room and my mom walks in and asks, do I have the remote for the stereo? I was busy playing video games and basically shrugged her off, so she takes it upon herself to look through my drawers. I don't even realize she's doing this, but I turn around and sure enough, she's found the effing family-inspired vintage porn. I'm starting to get red, so I pretend I didn't see her, and she just calls over, "Aw, this is so sweet, where did you find this picture? I had forgotten about it." Huh? This picture of me, Larry, and basically she starts listing off her whole family members. I'm freaking out internally. So unknowingly to me, I had jacked off to a picture of my now dead grandmother. Yeah, it doesn't get much worse than that. Yeah, now that is definitely a rock bottom low there, sir. I feel your pain. A possible plot twist to consider here, though, perhaps your mom somehow knew that you were jerking off in the attic to the picture, but instead of confronting you, she decided to pull a prank on you and tell you that it is your grandmother in the picture. But either way, being a hormonal 14-year-old teen is a weird ride, man.